Shalom, shalom, Israel. Welcome again to Watchmen of the Faith Ministries. My name is Kasadava. I pray that everybody had a beautiful Sabbath. Okay, today's the first day of the week. And I pray that through the Ruach HaKodesh that you have a beautiful week. And everything that you pray for, comes into existence for you. All right. And I just pray that everybody have a beautiful week. All right. Now, with that being said, you might notice now that I'm under a different YouTube account. The old YouTube account that I had, I don't know what happened with it. Okay, they sent me an email saying that I needed to verify my YouTube account. I did that. They say that they have no recollection of me having a YouTube account, and so I had to start over with a new one. Now, I see that there's still a lot of questions being asked under my old YouTube account, but again, I can't access that account. So if you could just kindly leave those questions that you have to this new YouTube account, I will answer those questions, all right? Now, excuse me. Now, the title of this show is called Covenant of the Threshold, all right? And what I want to talk about is the importance of the blood of YAHUSHUA, okay? Again, the title of the show is called The Covenant of the Threshold, the Blood of YAHUSHUA. Now, but what I want to go through first now is I want to go into a little bit on how I go through the scripture, all right? I came into this whole thing with trying to get a better understanding of the scriptures back in 1992 with that whole One West thing, okay, that happened out in New York. And what I do now, I want to challenge a lot of the things that I was taught back in 1992. And like the scripture said, you can't put new wine in old bottles. So I'm challenging that whole One West teaching that I got. And I just want to make sure that the information that I'm giving out is correct and accurate. And again, please leave a comment, all right? If anything that I'm saying, you're not quite understanding it, and I can try to bring it out in a clearer or in its clearest form, as best as I can. That's all I can do. Now, what's very important for me, okay, is that when I read the scriptures, I have to make sure that I read the scriptures from a Hebraic perspective. I truly believe that the only way that we can get the clearest understanding of the scripture is when we read it from a Hebraic perspective, all right? Now, I've also now found a lot of good information reading the Greek, but I have to put special emphasis, okay, that Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Jeremiah, Isaiah, all these guys were Hebrews. Shaul, who we know as Paul, okay, he was a Hebrew. All these guys were Hebrews, all right? And that has to be established first. Now, I heard an interesting joke a few weeks ago where this guy goes into this Christian Bible store, and there's a picture of YAHUSHUA on the cross, who the woman of the store knew as Jesus. And so the guy asked the woman that's in the store, well, who's that guy up there hanging on the cross? And the woman said, oh, that's Jesus. And then the guy says, well, Jesus was a Jew. And the woman screams, oh no, he was a Greek. All right, so I just found that funny because a lot of our people are still trying to understand the scriptures from a Hebraic perspective. And again, there's a lot of important things that we can find out in the Greek, but it must be established first, okay, that these guys, these prophets were Israelites, okay, they were Hebrews. And again, the only way that we can understand the scriptures properly, where I can understand the scriptures properly, I first must understand and teach those that I come across that reading the scriptures from a Hebraic perspective is going to be very, very important, all right? Now, this whole Greek, English, Christian replacement theology perspective, now you got to throw that out, okay? That's only going to confuse the situation. I've talked to many Christians and Baptists and Methodists, and the reason why they're not able to see the things that we who follow YAHUSHUA from a Hebraic perspective, the reason why they can't see this is because they're looking at this thing from a Greco-Roman perspective, all right? Now, for example, the word Genesis is very, very important in understanding that the word Genesis is not Hebrew, all right? Because there's a couple of Egyptologists that are preaching that the word Genesis means the generation of Isis. All right. And you can only get that definition, okay, that the word Genesis means the generation of Isis is when you look at the Bible outside of its proper perspective. Now, the proper word, okay, for the word Genesis is the word Bereshit. That's the proper word, okay, because that's Hebrew. So when we begin to speak Hebrew, it forces the person that we're speaking to look at things from a Hebraic perspective. Now, the word Bereshit doesn't mean, okay, the generation of Isis. This is the reason why, again, it's so important for us to keep everything in its proper Hebraic perspective. Because when you look at the word Bereshit, okay, in Hebrew, you can find the name of the Father and the name of the Son in that word Bereshit. You can't find the name of the Father and the Son in the word Genesis. All right? Because pictographs is also very important. All right? Which is like the oldest form of communication. All of this can be explained only in a Hebraic perspective. Take, for example, when you look up the word Bereshit and you break down each Hebrew character, okay, and then line it up, okay, with the pictographs, the word Bereshit is telling a story. For example, when you look up the word Bereshit, okay, you look up each one of the characters, and then you compare it with the pictograph. This is what the word Bereshit is saying. And you can only find this in Hebrew. You won't find this in Greek. It's saying Yahuwah the Father will create a house, which is the first symbol, which is called the Ba, or the, depending on the Dagash, the vowel point, it would be either Bet or Bet. So the Father will create a house. He will appoint his firstborn son to be the head of that house. He will give him strength and power. He will be a teacher and a consuming fire. He sits at the right hand of the Almighty. His sign is the cross. Now, I will go into detail in breaking that down, but all of this can be explained in its entirety when we understand, okay, the Hebrew. The Hebrew is so important in understanding the pictographs. When we understand the Bible from a Hebraic perspective, all right, it forces us to understand that we as Hebrews, we have a culture, we have an identity, and we have a nationality. If we're able to put all those things together in reading the scriptures, we won't be having a lot of the problems that we're having. All right, that's very important. Now what I wanted to go into is let's look at the next book. All right, in the Tanakh, or the Torah, excuse me, where we have the book of Exodus. It would be better recognized if we don't call it the book of Exodus and give every single thing that Western society has taught us, give it back to them. Exodus would be the book of Shemot. Okay, the book of Leviticus would be the book of Vayikra. Okay, the book of Numbers would be the book of Bamidbar. The book of Deuteronomy would be the book of Devarim. All these names are very, very important, okay, because again, it forces the individual, okay, to think from a Hebraic perspective, all right? And the more we're able to go back to our roots, the closer the relationship we can have with the Father and the Son, as it explains to us in 1 Corinthians, okay, the 11th chapter, when we read down from 1, you can read down from 1 to 6, where it gives us the chain of command, the Father, the Son, which is very important, all right? But again, we have to understand and read the Bible from a Hebraic perspective. Take, for example, I want to go to the Strong's number 2424, because this whole thing with the word Jesus. I was talking to another individual, okay, over the last couple of days. He said he acknowledges that the name of the Son is not Jesus, but he's so comfortable with the word Jesus that he's going to continue to use it anyway. And my thing now is that we have to ask ourselves, can we call the Father and the Son by any name that we wish to call them? And my answer to that question would be no. What we need to do, again, I'm going to be redundant in saying this, we have to come back and understand that we have a culture. And we have to follow the scriptures from a Hebraic perspective in order to get the best understanding. I want to go to the Strong's Concordance number 2424. And remember, the Strong's number 2424, it should be like second nature to us. Just the way Deuteronomy 28:64 is second nature to us. If anybody wants to verify this whole word with Jesus, just go to the Strong's number 2424. It's very easy to remember, and it gives us a clear breakdown on this whole word with Jesus. Okay, 2424. Bear with me for a minute. Excuse me, it's in the Greek. It's in the Greek, 2424. 2424. Okay, it has, because we already understand the whole thing that there's no J's in Hebrew. Everybody should know that by now. There's no J's in Hebrew. So they have from Hebrew or from the Strong's number 3091, they have Joshua or Yahushua, because again, we know that there are no J's in Hebrew. So it's spelled here Jehoshua. So being that there are no J's in Hebrew, and we know that that E should not be there, so we now understand that this word is properly pronounced, okay, Yahushua, not Jesus. And again, when you go to the Strong's number 2424, it's spelled with the I-E-S-O-U-S, and then it also have the Greek spelling there, and it's also associated with the Strong's number 3091, and the word is Yahushua, the name of it has Lord here, but we know that the word Lord is associated with the word Baal, and 2 or 3 others, and then it has the word here again, J-E-S-U-S. So that's very, very important for us to understand that the name of the Son is Yahushua. Now, what I also want to bring to everybody's attention too, now that the Messiah, okay, came out of the tribe of Yehuda, I want to go to my first scripture here. I want to go to the book of Hebrew, or the book of Hebrew, 7:14. Okay. The book of Hebrew, or the book of Hebrews 7:14, to make sure that we get a very good understanding of what's going on here. And obviously the book of Hebrews is written to who? The Hebrews. Hebrews 7:14. As it says now, for it is evident is proof. For it is evident that it has here Lord, but I'm substituting the word Lord for king. For our king sprang out of Yehuda, of which tribe Moses spoke nothing concerning priesthood. So we know who this priest is. Those priests that we had back during the days of the Levitical priesthood was all foreshadowing the coming of the true high priest, and that true high priest is Yahushua, okay? And he sits now at the right hand of the Father, and the Father's name is Yahuwah. I'm going to read it again. The book of Hebrews 7:14. For it is evident, all right? And the word evident is very important because the word evidence means beyond a shadow of a doubt. So you can easily read this, and I'm not changing any words or anything like that. For beyond a shadow of a doubt, that our king sprang out of Yehuda, of which tribe Moshe spoke nothing concerning priesthood. Now I want to go to another scripture. I want to go to the book of Revelation, the 5th chapter. I just want to bring out the importance of Hebrew. 5, and I'm going to read verses 1 through 5. The book of Revelation. And I saw in the right hand of him that sat on the throne a book written within on the backside, sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong angel proclaiming with a loud voice. Brothers and sisters, what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to stop at verse 2, and I'm going to continue on with this lesson, okay, the importance of Hebrew. And again, the name of this show is called The Covenant of the Threshold, the importance of the blood of Yahushua. And with that, I say shalom.